Happy Valentine's Day. It may not be Valentine's Day when you are seeing this video, but I am celebrating Valentine's Day today, February 14, 2020. So happy Valentine's Day to you as well, but every day is Valentine's Day, isn't it, with the Lord? He just showers us with love every single day, unconditional love, kind of like everybody of the world does. On Valentine's Day, brings that out to be the day that love is really expressed. But with the love of God, the unconditional love, we are trained to do that on a daily basis. So we will practice it abundantly today and carry it on for the rest of the year. Okay, let me go ahead and just dive right into the video that I am preparing to talk about Pastor Boyd Harrell and his wife, Jan Harrell, how they impacted my life through Cool Ministries, crossed over our life. I met them at the Henley unit, first time I ever met them in 2007. And they brought church into there. And let me just talk about that for just a second. When Cool Ministry shows up on the scene, you have to get up extra early, and you have to be ready to get in line and wait, because if you don't, you're not going to get out the door. And so many don't get out the door because there's only like allowed 20 per cell block, I guess they call that, or dorm block, and because the chapel won't hold everybody on the unit. So how many times did I get up extra early and jump in that line so I could go see Cool Church? And so many other did too, but got turned away. Just to let you know how powerful Cool Ministries is on those units, and how they draw people in that never get up to go to church, ever. But when Cool Ministry shows up, people are lined up, like I said. So I just wanted to touch on that because that's a high point of the prison ministry on the inside of the walls. And then I had the opportunity to do the Breaking the Chains 12-step program while I was in there, which was awesome. And again, there's always a wait list for Cool Ministries because they can only let so many in at a time, and so many are attracted to Cool Ministries and the lives that they impact. And I have taken some notes here because I want to keep this kind of short because I don't want to lose you here. But I have taken some notes here so that I don't leave out some of the high points. I have marked some high points because there's some high points, and this is just a little bit of how I've been impacted by Pastor Boyd and Jan Harrell and Cool Ministries. So I touched on how we had to fight to get out the dorm because they just bring realness. I mean, just realness, because most people in there is suffering from addiction problems, or just being hurt, and their hearts are just shattered into pieces. And then they get to go hear how God loves us, and how he forgives us, and how we are worthy of his forgiveness and of his love, and they just bring it to us in a real way. And I think because so many can relate to them, so many can relate to them, and everybody is starving. They're so hungry. They're so hungry. And when they talk about how God forgives you, and how he loves you, and how you are worthy of his love, so many have found salvation through Cool Ministries that, like I said, would never get up and go to church for any other ministries coming in there. But for some reason, everybody wanted to get up and go to Cool Church and wanted to be a part of the Breaking the Chains program. And and to talk, and then the opportunities that you get on the outside, um, it is just phenomenal, because you get to come out and be welcomed with open arms to go to Cool Church. And I think the reason that so many want to go to Cool Church is because they feel like they are accepted. They automatically know they're going to be accepted there. And because, see, when you're coming out of prison, you don't really feel accepted by society. And this is a great place to be welcomed in, coming right out of a place in a situation like that, to know that you are loved and you are accepted, and no matter what. And Pastor Boyd and Jan Harrell surely bring that too. So many. And so I talked about, I got to do it on the inside, I got to do it on the outside, and then I got to become a sponsor, where I had my own small groups when we would do breaking the chains on the outside in the church. So, Pastor Boyd isn't just only teaching, he's raising up disciples, is what he's doing as well. And I just want to touch on this, and I always had this vision with him that, and for so many in there that come out that don't have a place to go. I was one of those. If it wouldn't have been for a sister in Christ that I met in prison, I would not have had a place to go. When I came out in 2007, most of my family has passed away. And I had my children, but they might have been locked up too. And because we know how this disease affects the whole family. So anyway, I was one of those people, but I was just blessed that I had that somebody. But I will tell you that I would have chose to go to like a group Christian home, if Core Ministries would have had that to offer. And and I think about that, how many people would have a place to be welcomed home to if Cool Prison Ministries had that available. But we all know it takes funds and it takes money to be able to house people and feed people and help them get up on their feet so that they can be that productive citizen in society. Because y'all know, when you have a felony, nobody wants to rent to you. Hello. Nobody wants to give you a job. Hello. And I have a lot of skills, and I've never broken a lease, and I've never caused problems anywhere I live. But when they do that background check, nope, can't rent to you. But yet I can rent it under somebody else's name, and I can live there and pay rent every time, on time, every month. And I can also leave there in great standings and be one of the best residents there. I've had to do that. And never was comfortable with that, because I basically had to lie. But I needed a place to live. What do you do? So anyway, that's a little bit of that. And then, it's kind of really easier to get a job than it is a place to live. And not everybody has family. And some people's family has given up on them and don't trust them and don't want them back. They want to see some action. They want to see before, it takes time to build that trust up. So, with saying that, I would love to see Cool Church be able to offer something like that. And and that can get so discouraging and so depressing that one gives up. So many gives up and goes back because of that, them hardships. And Cool Church, so in the midst of while you're going through those things, at least they have their doors open, and we can go there and we can be encouraged and we can be loved on, and through the disappointments and the discouraging things that we have to face when we come out. And that's an honor in itself, but we need a little bit more. We do. And I want to touch on some highlights where Pastor Boyd, he doesn't drop you off. He never drops you off. You can call him at any time. You can get a hold of him anytime, and he's there for you. What he can do. And I will let you know that Pastor Boyd, I lost my sister to a car wreck, and that was in 2008. And there was no money, no funds. She had no insurance. There was nothing. We had became homeless out of the Hurricane Harvey. We were roommates. And anyway, I was staying here and she was staying there. But anyway, she ended up being killed in the car wreck. And I was able to go to my church, to my pastor. Sorry, I'm not supposed to do that. I wasn't going to do that. I'm strong. I'm a lot stronger than what I was. That's been a little bit of time, but it still hurts. Well, it hurts that I lost her, but so grateful that I had my church, to go to. And he took up an offering, and he was able to give me some other resources. Anyway, we ended up raising all the money that I needed to bury my sister. And then he preached at, he did her closing services. And I didn't have money to pay him, but he was there, and he doesn't ever ask for anything. You just know he's going to show up, but it also takes money for him to live too as well. And then I met a man, and I was married to him, and Pastor Boyd opened his church up for us, and he married us with, again, no funds, because he was laid off. He was a journeyman electrician, but times was really, really rough. Was in the recession, but yet I didn't want to live in sin. So, but I really wanted to be with my husband, my fiance to be husband at the time, and he did that, and he does that for anyone that asks. Okay, so just and then in 2014, March 23rd, 2014, my daughter was dropped off at a emergency room, dead on arrival. And it was several hours before they found out who she was. And I found out, and I was over there. And anyway, it was very sad. They had resuscitated and got her a heartbeat. And they had already made arrangements with St. Joseph's downtown. And they were about to transport her over there when I got there, and they just let me know that she was dead when they got there. And they did get her heartbeat back, and they had no hope. There was no hope for her. She was gone. She was dead. She was only 28 years old at the time, and somebody just dropped her off there. But I can be very grateful that somebody did drop her off, even though she was already dead. And they just left. I guess they were scared. And yeah. And anyway, Pastor Boyd, we were at the St. Joseph's downtown, and they have very strict rules with visitation. And after visitation one night, we were there, and family and friends, and a car come pulling up there in front of the hospital, and parked, and this man got out. Well, guess who that man was? And this was 11:30 at night, and Pastor Boyd, there he was again. And I said, "Oh, I'm so grateful you came. God, it's so good to see you. When a mother's heart is just shattered, and the doctors are saying she's never going to wake up, that I was going to have to let her go. I was going to have to take her off the breathing respirator machine and let her go." And I said, they're not going to let you in. They're real strict in there, and visitation's already over. And he said, oh, well, let me go try. And I'm like, oh, okay. So we waited anyway. He's a pastor, so they have special privileges that I wasn't aware of. And anyway, he got to go in and he prayed over Christy. And he got to see the evidence, and he come out and he prayed with the family. And just to have somebody there for you in desperate times like that is far few in between. And the reason that he wasn't there earlier is because he's made commitments to these people in prison. And it would be very sad for so many of them if he didn't show up, because I know I was one of them. And he had been doing a 12-step at the prison. And he came by when he finished. So that's just how committed this pastor is. And I just can't express enough, but I don't want to go on and on here. I don't want to lose you. Let me look at my notes. I don't want to forget something that's so very important. So, yes, and he prayed with the family, and that just meant so much to us, you know. And anyway, to let you know, Christy is alive. She's well. I am her caretaker, and her mother. She did wake up. She is living. She is breathing with some limitations. She has a feeding tube, and she's mute because the brain's not telling these muscles in here to work. And that was 6 months after she came out of the coma that happened. But she is here to be a mother to her little boy, just to shower him with her presence of love. And they have a strong bond. And I just made sure that. But you know what? God raised Lazarus from the dead. Why couldn't he raise Christy from the dead? Because he could. And I just kept on and kept on. And I never, ever doubted God. Ever. Others did. Others had already wrote her off, but I never did. And because of the belief that I have in God. And anyway, never underestimate the power of the Lord. But we need people like Pastor Boyd and his wife Jan, both of them in our lives, to encourage us and to give us that word and to feed us. Because without that, I would never have even known who Jesus was. I was so lost. So you can only imagine when most of us end up in prison. It's because we are lost. And a lot of us are looking for Jesus and don't know it. But because we hear how cool ministry is, we all want to go get a taste of that, right? So we fight to get through that door. And that's not where it all begins. Right there behind them walls. For a lot of us. And of course, they turn nobody away. Anybody hurting, anybody struggling with addiction out here, you don't have to go to prison to get help and to, get loved on. Just go find cool church. That will definitely open them doors, and you will feel welcomed right away. It's just something about how people feel so low with no confidence that they don't want to walk into a church. They don't feel worthy, but yet they'll walk in cool church. And they find God. And they become become disciples. And anyway, I love y'all, and I am praying and hoping for cool ministry to be able to do more and to be able to get the fundings that they need to help so many more, because there is so many out there. I love y'all, and you have a very blessed day.